He's considered to be the oldest human mummy found intact, and scientists believe he died more than 5,000 years ago. Because of new DNA technology, they're reimagining what he actually looked like. CNN's Michael Holmes has more.
Stunning DNA discoveries about Ötzi the Iceman that shocked scientists. September 1991, two German hikers, Erika and Helmut Simon, trekked the Ötzi Alps near the Austria-Italy border. At 3,210 meters, something strange catches their eye, a completely lifeless figure, half buried in melting ice. At first, they think it's just a modern mountaineer, but no, this death wasn't recent, not even close. It's a body that has been frozen for nearly 5,000 years. Since around 3300 BCE, they call him Ötzi the Iceman, after the mountain he was found in. But who was he? What did the DNA in his frozen body reveal? And how did he meet his end? Before we get right into it, let us know in the comments, how do you think Ötzi died? The strange tools and clothes. Unlike any other ancient human remains ever found, Ötzi's body wasn't just bones. It was skin, hair, and flesh, all in a practically perfect state of preservation. Besides capturing the world's attention by surviving the cold for so many years, this oldest naturally preserved mummy also drew everyone's attention when researchers noticed everything he carried with him. First were his tools: a heavy copper axe that gleamed with the weight of early metalworking, a sturdy longbow, and a quiver filled with arrows, and a few other strange implements. His clothes were also particularly intriguing, made from carefully prepared animal hides, stitched together and insulated with layers of grass. Ötzi's outfit was perfect for surviving the harsh cold on the mountain. These scraps of clothing revealed that knowledge was definitely passed down through generations on how to protect oneself from cold, wind, and snow. But the most shocking and mysterious part of Ötzi's story wasn't how he lived, it was how he died. When scientists examined his body with the precision of modern forensic detectives, they found a deadly arrowhead lodged deep in his left shoulder. The severity of the wound made it clear that it wasn't a random accident or a simple hunting mishap. It was undoubtedly an attack. This arrow, fired by someone else, hinted at some sort of conflict, danger, and probably even betrayal. Was he running from an enemy? Was this a fight for survival or something much darker? These questions were on the minds of researchers as they studied the angle of the arrow. The wounds on his hands suggested a struggle, but no one knows if it was with his attacker or while he tried to remove the arrow from his shoulder. Sadly, the arrow wound led to his fatal bleeding, and he breathed his last. With so many questions still running through their minds, scientists got more intrigued about his life. What DNA sequencing revealed about Ötzi's ancestry and health? As the years passed, advancements in DNA sequencing finally helped scientists dig deeper into Ötzi's ancestry and health. Previous studies suggested he had steppe ancestry, common among modern Europeans. But a 2023 analysis revealed that Ötzi's genetic makeup was predominantly Anatolian, tracing back to early farmers from present-day Turkey. This finding challenged previous assumptions about population movements in prehistoric Europe and revealed more details about human migration and intermingling many centuries ago. Besides his ancestry, Ötzi's genome also provided information about his physical traits and health. And here's where things get more interesting. When he was first discovered in 1991, many imagined him as fair-skinned, blue-eyed man with a full head of hair. But recent genetic analysis has significantly altered this perception. A 2023 study utilizing advanced DNA sequencing techniques revealed that Ötzi likely had darker skin than previously believed and exhibited signs of male-patterned baldness, suggesting he may have been balding at the time of his death. If you think that's half of his challenges, you couldn't be more wrong. Ötzi's genetic profile indicates he was predisposed to several health conditions. He had a high risk of cardiovascular diseases, including arterial sclerosis. This is a particularly interesting discovery given his active lifestyle as a hunter-gatherer. Analysis of his genetic profile have also shown that Ötzi was lactose intolerant, and this aligns with the understanding that lactose intolerance was common among Neolithic populations. Further examinations of Ötzi's remains gave evidence of parasitic infections, Microscopic analysis of his stomach contents revealed the presence of whipworm eggs, which are parasitic worms that live inside the intestines and cause serious digestive problems, pain, discomfort, and overall body weakness. Using advanced DNA analysis techniques, researchers also detected the presence of Heliobacter pylori, a bacterium linked to stomach ulcers and gastritis, which causes inflammation and irritation in the stomach lining. This meant Ötzi likely suffered from chronic stomach issues, making his everyday life harder than we might imagine for someone living in the tough Copper Age. These discoveries show us that even someone who lived thousands of years before us faced many of the same struggles we do, from pain, sickness, and hunger to survival in a world that could be unforgiving. When scientists examined what was inside Ötzi the Iceman's stomach, they were looking right at his last meal that was frozen in time for over 5,000 years. The last meal Ötzi the Iceman had. He had eaten a mix of fatty ibex meat, red deer, and an ancient grain called einkorn wheat. That's a high-protein, high-fat, and fiber-rich meal, perfect for surviving the difficult climb he was on. There were also bits of bracken fern, which might have been used as medicine or maybe wrapped around the food. This simple meal has provided information about how daily life most likely was in the Copper Age. The ibex and deer were animals that were hunted, cut, and cooked. Scientists found signs that the meat had been dried or smoked, meaning he might have been preserving it ahead of time. That kind of preparation suggests people in the Copper Age had a good understanding of food storage and planning. Then there's the einkorn wheat, which wasn't something you could just pick up in the wild. It had to be grown, harvested, and processed, showing that agriculture was already a part of life in the Alps. A nutrient-rich diet and DNA aren't the only things scientists could get from Ötzi. They've also been able to understand the tattoo culture of people living in the Alps in the Copper Age. Ötzi had over 60 tattoos, and they're nothing like the ones we see today. They were made by making small cuts in the skin and rubbing in charcoal. Most of Ötzi's tattoos are just straight lines or little crosses, placed on his joints and spine. But odd thing about them is that these tattoo spots match up with areas where he had signs of wear and pain, like arthritis. Some researchers believe they were used for pain relief, kind of like early acupuncture. So these marks might have been a medical treatment, which tells us people in the Copper Age were already experimenting with ways to manage pain naturally. Moving on to the items found with him, one of the most valuable was his copper axe. The unique copper axe. It had a blade made of nearly pure copper, attached to a wooden handle using leather straps and tree resin. This might not sound like much now, but back then, a tool like this was cutting edge, literally and socially. Making copper tools took skill, and at that time, not everyone had access to them. So that simple axe means Ötzi either had status or special knowledge. The axe wasn't just for chopping wood either. It could have been a weapon, a symbol of high rank, or both. The copper itself was sourced hundreds of miles away in present-day Tuscany, proving that long-distance trade was already happening. As science keeps advancing, researchers keep finding out more about Ötzi. One of the most recent discoveries is that Ötzi actually had Lyme disease. This was quite surprising because Lyme disease is more common in modern times, but the discovery proves that humans in the Copper Age were already suffering from diseases we thought were modern. Scientists made this discovery by studying his blood and tissue with DNA sequencing. They spotted the bacteria that causes Lyme disease still in his blood. Scientists also took a close look at pollen grains stuck to Ötzi's clothes and gear. By identifying the types of pollen in plants, they were able to figure out the season Ötzi died. They found out that he passed away in late spring or early summer, and this helps us understand the environment and weather he experienced that day. This also gave clues about the exact path he took through the mountains. Thanks to DNA sequencing, pollen analysis, and 3D imaging, science keeps revealing more previously unknown facts about his life and lifestyle. If you enjoyed this exploration of Ötzi the Iceman's DNA, unexpected ancestry, physical traits, diet, tattoos, tools, and circumstances surrounding his death that defy earlier assumptions, then hit the like button. To stay updated on more ancient history and recent impressive DNA analysis on these ancient people, subscribe to our channel so you don't miss our next videos.